I've always had a problem, Holman, with telling the difference. No, not you.
Oh,
I love you.
Okay.
Between coincidence and irony. They're very similar. Coincidence.
I don't think so.
No, you don't think so?
Irony is well.
Let me paint one for you.
Okay.
Last episode, we had on Andrew Weaver from SoCal Auto Glass Kings.
Uh-huh.
The next morning, I'm
Right.
driving to work, and it's not even a cool motorcycle. It was a friggin' 250, a sport bike with a 250, kicked a rock up at me and chipped my windshield.
Okay.
Is that coincidence or irony?
Well, irony is when there's a contrast between expected outcomes and then the actual results. Wow.
Well, then the expected outcome is that I would never get a chip because I talked to the glass guy.
Well, but think of this one. Coincidence, that's the highlight of randomness. Randomness and the lack of a logical connection or deliberateness in events.
So you're smiling. You guys can't tell. Is this coincidence or irony? That the next morning, after talking to a glass guy, I get a chip in the TRX windshield.
What if I told you that irony is what makes stories more interesting because it adds surprise and it makes us think differently about what's happening, while coincidence is something that helps move the stories along by bringing in characters together or setting up unexpected situations that keep us engaged.
They both apply to this. Not as easy, right?
I would say it's coincidence.
Huh.
Although I would say there are no coincidences, so everything is irony.
It's irony, exactly. Well, so I have to hire the guy that you already hired to do a little. Luckily, it's not the whole windshield. It's just
On which car?
The TRX. I called you
Bummer.
right after it happened.
I don't remember.
You don't remember me calling you?
I don't remember anything that happened more than 5 minutes ago.
Okay, well, I did. I mean, it's
bad
not the end of the world. It's not a big deal. It's just a little tiny chip, but it's and luckily it's not on my sight line. But I couldn't believe it. I get on the freeway and it's like I've never had a rock thrown at me from a motorcycle. I watched him
Did
fly.
you run him off the road?
I wish I could have. No, it was too much traffic. But he whizzed past me in the carpool lane, and I see the rock just right from under his tire. I could see it. I'm like, no way!
Smash. Yep.
Yep. Exactly.
Well, I have this love-hate relationship with the internet.
Mm-hmm. Because you can't tell irony from coincidence?
No, it has nothing to do with that. It has something to do with just, you go to find information. And I find it ironic. I'm going to go back to your irony here.
Someone call Alanis Morissette.
No, call Dave Coulier.
Because he got her to write the song?
Anyway.
Yeah, look it up, people. Look it up.
I'll call it irony. We live in a time where the most information is at our fingertips, right? We should be able to help each other out the most. And everywhere you go is full of a-holes, just trying to win the internet a-hole funny guy trophy of the week, right? And it's frustrating because you go to these groups and they're just filled with smart-ass responses. So I've got a buddy, Jason Aubry, who started these groups for Wranglers. It's JL No BS and JK No BS. And if you're an a-hole and you're not helpful, he just boots you from the group. So it's full of really helpful, collaborative people. So like I told you on the last episode, I'm like, I got this Starlink Mini. And I'm trying to research it. I'm trying to figure stuff out. And there's a few sites or groups on Facebook.
If you didn't hear the last episode, Starlink Mini is
awesome.
Satellite.
Basically, what brings the internet and Wi-Fi wherever you go. You can mount it on your vehicle like I did in my Jeep. There's a bunch of different mount companies out there, like High Speed Mounts is where I got mine, and all sorts of stuff. Okay, that's whatever.
So you're having a discussion in one of these groups.
Well, I'm not even having a discussion. I'm just reading, and every comment is like a smart ass, like, oh, you can't use Google, or you're an idiot, or spam. It's every single message is Telegram here, date me here, and you're just like wading through this stuff. So I basically just get fed up, and I'm like, you know what? F it. I'm gonna start my own group. So I started my own group. I left the Starlink Mini site, and I started my own group called Starlink Mini for Adventurers, and I already have 700 people.
You're kidding me.
In 2 days. And all these people are like, oh my God, this is great. Thanks for...
Did you invite people? They just found you?
I just put... I went in... So it turns out the other group's not moderated because it's a public group. I made a private group.
Oh, you went over there and you posted it. I'm doing this over here.
I'm doing this over here.
Come on over here.
So one a-hole goes, I like the irony that you're talking about hating spam by spamming the group. And immediately after he wrote that, a bot spams him. And so then I wrote back to that dude, and I'm like, I love how no one cares about your hot take but a bot. Just like whatever. So anyway, so I did this Starlink Mini for adventurers. And I've got, like I said, over 700 people now. And 2 days, I've got this like people from Australia, Africa, the United States, Canada, and all these people are like, hey.
This is when Elon Musk reaches out to you to be an influencer.
Yeah, right.
Right?
But it's funny because it's like all these people are like, they're all interacting with each other. There's like legitimate questions. Everybody's helpful. I've booted out one spammer who's like, hey, I'll sell you a Starlink cheap. I'm like, boom, gone. Out.
Yeah.
And everybody, I posted in there and I was like, hey, I just want to say, like, there's a real admin in here. I'm a real person. Here's my background. I had all this like super overwhelming.
Oh, so how many people started following you? It's like how many people friended you?
No, not very many people friended me, but I had 39 comments, and most of them were things like, sounds like I'm in the right place. Thanks for this group. Thanks for the ad. So pleased somebody decided to start this group and intends to moderate a Starlink group. Seems like all the Starlink groups I have are serious spammer, fake account issues. I like the way you think. Thanks for the ad. Thanks, you're right. Mini's a game changer. So happy, that there's no spam in here.
So, hold on. Right now, are you spamming the Truck Show Podcast listeners?
Yes,
about your
absolutely
group?
So Blake Saffel, right, who is one of our listeners,
yes,
writes, Sean is legit. I seen it. So he brings a little Truck Show Podcast love into this group. So I thought that was funny because that was meant for you and you weren't even there. So anyway, I just got fed up with the internet. I'm like, I'm just going to do this myself.
I don't even
have a better place.
I don't have a use for it right now, but I wish I did. I want to be part of the club. I'm having FOMO with your Starlink.
I know, it's great. I'm like, it's funny because it's just like, there's no BS, so people are like asking legitimate questions or sharing information.
It is refreshing when you're on a Facebook group and they actually are helpful.
Yeah.
Like I am on some, I don't know what it is. So there's you'll find the groups where that doesn't exist. But like L5P Duramax is only.
Yeah.
That is 70% of it is just guys hating on each other. And then everything 6-7 Cummins. Oh my Lord! It's just so much talking.
I don't have time for that anymore.
And you know what
busy.
I love?
I just want to get an answer to something.
You know what I love about that group? This Ram group that I'm on. Every time someone posts a photograph of like something they purchased for their truck, there's always the a-hole that goes, "Yeah, I made my own. Like, it took me 2 weeks." And I go, "Dude, are you jobless or do you just not value your own time at all?"
Right.
I love when the guy he'll bitch and moan and tell everyone what an idiot you were for buying something for your truck. Intake, exhaust, whatever.
I'm like,
you should have left it stock, or I made my own. And it's like, it only took me 100 hours.
I want to go to that guy and go, did you build your truck also?
Yeah.
Like, oh, dude, built, not bought. I'm like, I'm pretty sure you started by buying your truck. Like, you bought your truck from somebody else. You didn't make that truck. So, like, at what point do you draw the line, you hypocrite?
Yeah. It's insane, the hate for... So what it is, immediately the guy posts and says, I can't believe you spent all that money on this, on X, on this thing. Wheels, tires, intake, exhaust, whatever. And the guys are like, what's wrong with you? Why can't he go spend his money how he wants? Or like, it's just a waste. He bought into the snake oil. That thing doesn't do what it says it's going to do. And they're like, yeah, but he's happy about it. They're like, yeah, but it's not okay that he's being taken advantage of. Like, bro, he's not being taken advantage of. He clearly
knows
has
what he did. My time is worth more than that product. Buying that product that I know is validated from a good source that works is worth me doing that and not having specs. I'm too busy. Just tell me what works.
There are people apparently that have time, and because they have time, they don't value those that don't have time.
It's the PTA at school. It's all the people that are at home while their spouse works and they're just like drumming up trouble over there. Same thing on the forums. I got nothing better to do but to stir up the internet hornets.
It's funny because the guy will like spend 6-8 hours modifying some hunk of crap part to be, in his eyes, as good as the one had he bought.
Not.
But it's like, wait a minute, bro. You make... let's say you're a mechanic or you're skilled in something else. You get paid $40 to $60 or more dollars an hour. The time you invested, you could have bought one. Like had you been at work making money, but you chose to do it yourself and then poke fun at the guy who actually
by the way,
bought it.
I'm not saying don't do it yourself. I'm just saying leave other people alone.
Right.
Like stop being a-holes. Like everything is like, who can be the biggest a-hole in the group? And it gets so annoying.
You will find that this is a case. I want you all to do this. The next guy that you see hating on people on Facebook in a group, go to his profile. He will almost always not share his real personality.
Of
He will
course.
have memes. It's just weird. He doesn't want to share anything. He's got nothing on his profile. I'm like, I want to. If you're going to be a real human and you want to battle me, like step into the ring so I can see your face, and they just won't.
Well, that's just like anonymous letters or so. I round file that stuff. If you can't put your name behind it, I don't care what you have to say.
Yeah, but
Just don't.
every once in a while you step into the ring.
I know. Because
I've seen you dance with the. I can't say the full
I know,
phrase, but
but it's true because like sometimes you just need to be done with it, and you're like, all right. And I will go. I'm a writer by trade, and I will go to sport with you because it makes me happy, and I will get the last word in, and I will go. You think you'll go for 4 or 5 days? I'll go for 3 weeks.
The last time Holman was at my house, he comes over and he's like, "I got to share this post with you," and it was like 30 entries deep, and he was destroying this guy. He was wordsmithing the snot out of him.
Kept coming back.
He
I'm like,
kept
all
coming
right.
back. Yeah, but you took the bait and you were
It's not that I took the bait.
you were
it's
wiping
just,
the dog's face in the crap. Like,
yeah.
but
it's not that I took the bait. It's that I got to a point where I had some free time and I was just in the mood for blood sport on the internet. And every once in a while,
No, you did not have free time. You couldn't. You
can't
smelled the
control
blood
it.
in the water, and you were like, "I'm going to eat it."
Because he wouldn't stop. All he had to do was walk away. But nope, couldn't do that. So
Okay, so on this episode of the Truck Show podcast, we're going to have an in-studio guest, Mr. Austin Huffman, owner of Valvetronic Designs, and you guys didn't hear it because the mics weren't on. But
well, he's the one. Yeah.
Well, he was
We heard it
waking
pull up.
He was waking up your neighborhood with an amazing Porsche.
What is that thing? A GT2, GT3?
I
Something
don't
like that.
know, but when he pulls up, and we'll talk about it later, I thought he was riding a motorcycle. Like
No,
it sounded like a crazy
Yeah, but when he hit
Hayabusa
the valve button, it was so quiet. It was almost weird.
Yeah. So anyway, we're going to talk valved exhaust and being an entrepreneur. I think he's a pretty young dude. Well, we'll save this for the interview.
All right, sounds good. All right, so before we get on with the show, we got to thank our presenting sponsor, Nissan. So if you're looking for a midsize truck, the Nissan Frontier is one of the best midsize trucks out there with a starting price of $30,030, nicely equipped. Rock solid reliability, no hybrid, no turbos, no base engine. They're all the 3.8-liter V6 backed by the 9-speed, making 310 horsepower and 280 pound-feet of torque. You get 6,640 pounds of max towing, fully boxed frame, king cab or crew cab. Just a great truck. We love them. It's the truck that has everything you need and nothing you don't. You can build and price the Nissan Frontier that fits your lifestyle over at nissanusa.com. Or, of course, you can head on down to your local Nissan dealership. You can test drive it in person. I hear they're giving out some deals because the 25s are on the way.
A couple weeks ago, Holman, you'll recall that I was talking about boost tubes blowing
That's
and
the,
being unavailable.
One thing I do remember.
But what's boost tubes blowing?
I can't remember anything else, but I do remember that for some reason.
So again, we talked about the 2011 to 2016 Duramax LML, and all of a sudden, for some reason, the hot side boost tube is no longer available. If you were to blow the boot or crack the boost tube, you get stranded, you don't have a replacement. So what I recommend is give yourself some insurance and upgrade at the same time by moving over to Banks high flow boost tubes. They're not like the stock scrawny little boost tubes. These are 3.5-inch diameter with up to 105% greater flow area compared to stock. Head over to bankspower.com and buy your upgraded boost tubes for your 2011 to 2016 Duramax LML today.
And if you're somebody who loves your trucks like we do, then you're going to give it the best. That means quality full synthetic lubricant like AMSOIL. AMSOIL has you covered with motor oil, lubricants, protectants, grease, additives, and more. AMSOIL's specialized products are engineered for extraordinary performance across automotive, racing, and power sports and lighting. AMSOIL has been a pioneer in synthetic lubricants for over 50 years. They deliver wear protection, engine cleanliness, and fuel efficiency that conventional oils simply can't match. Find out how AMSOIL synthetic lubricants can save you money and time by helping your vehicles run better and last longer than with conventional oils at AMSOIL.com. When it comes to lubrication, AMSOIL is the leader in synthetics.
And quality does not stop with lubricants. If you want a quality roll track electric retractable bed cover, EGR USA is where you go. Roll tracks are available for Chevy, GMC. They got them for Gladiator, Ram, and a bunch more trucks. And they're adding applications all the time. In my opinion, it is the best engineered roll top tonneau cover that you will find. Head over to egrusa.com to find your application, as well as shop for things like fender flares, VSL LED lights, window visors, hood guards, body side moldings, cab spoilers, sport bars, and under seat storage. You'll find them all at egrusa.com.
The Truck Show. We're gonna show you what we know. We're gonna answer what the truck, 'cause truck rhymes with the truck show. We have the lifted, we have the lowered, and everything in between. We'll talk about trucks that run on diesel and the ones that run on gasoline. The truck show, the truck show, the truck show. Oh, oh.
It's the Truck Show with your hosts, Lightning and Holman.
Holman, we've got Austin Huffman in the studio, founder, and I'm going to say CEO, even if that's not true, CEO of Valvetronic Design. You've heard the name Valvetronic before, maybe because I've been talking about it for the last couple of weeks, but if you've ever heard the valved exhaust systems, all of a sudden they drive by and they're like, and then they turn the corner and it's quiet to play nice on your block, they may have a Valvetronic system. And how long have you guys been around, Austin?
So I've been doing this for about 6 years now. I started the company when I was a sophomore at school, at university, at Lehigh. I didn't join a frat. I wasn't like part of the whole party scene, so I was bored. I wasn't allowed to have my car on campus. So I kind of used this project that I wanted to build these exhausts as a way to get my car on campus because I didn't really have an identity without my car. I always had an identity in high school with my car, and I was always doing projects and modifying kids' cars to make money or buying things and flipping wheels to make money. So
How many of them did you mess up?
I was not, honestly. That was when I was like 17, so anybody looks back and they were 17.
Hold on a second. What I'm hearing, Holman, is that he's an entrepreneur.
What does it take to be an entrepreneur? What does it take to be an entrepreneur? Quit your job and get a loan, and don't let anyone tell you you can't. Go into debt and don't look back. Don't worry, there will always be another crappy job. This is what it takes to be an entrepreneur.
So the reason I asked that is because when I was in auto shop in high school,
Yep.
you get all the poor students would come in, and their parents were like, they're driving, and their dad's like, I don't have time to fix it. Take it to auto shop. So you'd get some person coming in and like, hey, my dad says I need this, and then turn the students loose on it, right? And
That was an actual thing.
That was an actual thing.
Wow.
Yeah,
that would never fly today.
And I remember this
It's
one
just liability.
This one dude was like the football jock. We didn't know anything about cars, right?
Okay.
And so he's like, yeah, my car's making this noise. My dad said I should just bring it to you guys. And he was like terrorized, everybody in that class at some point. We're like, yeah, dude, all right, here's your list of stuff for Napa. You need blinker fluid, you need that. Muffler bearing. Went down the whole thing and made his life miserable before we ever fixed his car. So
I've told the story before. So in high school, I was much like you. My identity, a lot was wrapped up in my vehicle. And I was into the Hondas at the time, things like that. I was buying and selling car stereo equipment. And I didn't know for the first year and a half or 2 years, sophomore, junior year, when I was selling stuff, that everyone thought it was stolen. Like they just assumed, like how would this kid get brand new Sherwin-Vega speakers and all that stuff, until I finally brought the quarterback of the football team to the distributor where I was buying the stuff, and I melted his mind. He couldn't believe that I was walking up to the door, paying, getting stuff, and reselling it. He was just couldn't believe it. And then my business was out of control. I couldn't even keep up after that because all the football players, all the cheerleaders all wanted gear.
They all wanted stereos. It's very funny you say that because to make money in high school, again, I wasn't the big party kid. I wasn't a jock. I ended up really learning the difference between who is the customer and who is the end consumer, because the customer for the builds that I was doing, like on these Wranglers and stuff that I would do, like we would do wheels and lifts and all sorts of stuff. The customer was the parent, but the end consumer was the kid. So I had to work with the kid to try to convince the parents because they were the ones paying for
They're
this stuff,
bankrolling
right?
it.
It was fascinating. And the high school that I went to, it was kind of a douchebaggy school.
So it was bougie and they had money?
Yes. It looked like a Jeep dealership. Grand Cherokee, Grand Cherokee, Grand Cherokee, Grand Cherokee, Wrangler, like just in a line. Dead ass. They were all the same. They were all the same color. But this one kid who was flipping burgers, he was like, hey, all these Jeeps look the same. I've made some money. I've got an after school job. Let's go crazy. And I said, all right, I'll do the labor for free. You just pay for the parts. And we'll have this as like our showcase build at this high school. Exactly.
Right?
And so we brought this car in, and then everybody started to trust me with their cars. It was the same thing. And that's why today people ask like, oh, the Valvetronic stuff, you're so fortunate to be successful. What's the secret? And I'm like, honestly, I've tried so many things. You just have to hustle. You just have to get after it, because like the Jock was so blown away that you were buying and selling equipment. People don't understand how trial and error business is based. You know, everybody thinks, I got to have the plan, I got to have the routine, everything. I say balls to all that, because it's really all just, okay, we're going to figure this out. If it doesn't work, we'll try something else.
Yeah, we'll keep
kind of like your
tweaking.
jingle there, right? Which is
exactly.
really rowdy.
So we met back in, I guess it was February or something like that, in Orlando.
Yes.
And I was moderating a panel for Keystone Automotive. So some of you may have seen Keystone in the past, or a truck delivering at your local shop, but they're basically a big distributor and one of the bigger distributors in the country for aftermarket automotive parts. And so I was at this conference, which they call the Big Show, and I was. They said, "Hey, if you want, you can stay all weekend. We'll give you passes to the show, and you can kind of cruise around." I'm like, "Yeah, I don't want to just come in and do this hour panel and then
leave.
leave. I want to see what it's all about." It's kind of, think of it as like a mini SEMA. I'm walking down the aisles and meeting different companies, kind of talking about OVR and Truck Show Podcast, and I see these guys, and they're in this end booth, and they're like, "Hey, come check out our valves." And at that time, Lightning had gotten the loud exhaust.
The attack, right.
The
We can
Borla
say it.
attack.
He already knows about it. Yeah, I got a
Borla attack. And he thought it would be great. And it is great. It sounds amazing. Except for when you start your car up at 5 a.m, they're like sound cannons.
Man,
and
it's
he
loud.
was definitely jealous of the 392 because I had the quiet button, the happy neighbor mode. And so you had said, "Hey, love for you to try this out. Do you have a vehicle?" I'm thinking, do you have something for the TRX? And you and I started talking about TRXs. So I hit Lightning up, and I said, "Hey, I think I've got a problem or a solution for your problem about your loud exhaust, so you can both enjoy it being obnoxious and also have happy neighbor mode." And then that's how this whole thing kind of started. So you sent out stuff like right away. You're like, "Stoked here. I'm going to send the box. Blah blah blah. What's the address?" And then Lightning sat on it for about 8 months.
Well, but you're okay. That's not. Hold on a second. Wait, hold on a second.
Kids, they need to do this first.
Did I email you, Austin, along the way and say, "Here's my updates"? Yes, I did.
Absolutely.
Yes. So, and the reason
My
is,
update is the box is
You should
dusty.
have done it immediately, because you're a car guy, and when you get a car part, you
See?
must do it immediately.
but I don't know if I told you this part. My truck was broken into, and I went.
I think you told everybody that part.
Good thing I didn't
But maybe
steal the
not
mufflers.
Austin.
We would have been in trouble, right?
right? So it was broken into, and the truck went into hibernation, basically. And I waited for the window, and then
He had to hide it from the cartel because they were going to come back.
like
for
that
it.
whole thing, and I was freaked out. Yeah, exactly. And I'm not a guy who's going to go to a muffler shop. I'm just not, unless I
It has to be
absolutely have to.
TIG-welded, like real
It's got to
nice,
be
yeah.
TIG welded. And when I got your Valvetronic mufflers, they're works of art.
They're nice.
They're
Yeah.
beautiful.
They're really
right?
beautiful. Yeah.
304 stainless. I assume 304,
Yep.
right? Polished. They're just
awesome welds.
beautiful. You take it out of the box, and the angels sing. That's the sound effect as you open the box.
As you open the box, yeah.
So then I need to get little Eric at work. He's an amazing TIG welder. So he's busy working on a project. I just have to be patient. So if I want it done and I want booger welds, which I don't, because I don't want to booger welds in your stuff, it's not going to happen. So waited, finally got it done. Installed them. I did what I think is a beautiful installation. I'll show you after the show.
Okay.
I've got your control module in the bed. I didn't put it there. Eric did. It was great. They made a custom bracket for it. It's in the bed, up out of the way, tucked behind the rack.
You got your EGR roll track.
Yeah,
so it's
it's
protecting
under
it,
that.
and it's under the lip of the rail where, like, basically what would be
Utility.
the utility track
Right.
on like a Nissan. Ram has their tracks as well.
Oh, okay,
So
perfect.
it's protected, so you can't beat it up. Like if cinder block fell into it, it wouldn't hurt it, which
be
is great,
fine.
right?
Yeah, that's good.
And then I did a home run all the way to the front of the truck because I've got the 6 aux switches. So I went into one of the aux switches, and so I have my 12-volt switched. So if I turn it off, the actuator, the pump in the module will never energize, and it will always be in quiet mode because the valve is closed by
closed.
default,
Yep.
so it's always in quiet mode until I turn it on, and then I've synced it. I watched your video on your
Yep,
YouTube
good.
channel, and I synced it with my home link. So
Yes.
the left button on my home link is open, and the right button
is
is closed, and
Yeah.
it works like a champ. It's really great.
So the reason why this product exists, and I'm very excited about the success that it's had, is because genuinely, I don't care what exhaust you have, Borla, MBRP, Corsa, anything. You can have that exhaust if the truck came with it, B, you already bought it, or C, you're looking at that exhaust because you like the sound. you can just retrofit the Valvetronic mufflers into that system. Or if you have a stock truck like the TRX, I assume was stock before, you just take those kind of bottle mufflers out and you weld these in, and it changes not just the sound, but it changes your whole interaction with the car, truck, vehicle, whatever. Because my TRX, like yours, has the bypass pipes, like the race pipes, so it's catless and it's so loud. It's like 130 decibels. It's so loud.
Well, so you not catless because that's illegal. You did.
I did some free flow
in Mexico.
I did some more freer flowing components up front.
So he is from another state.
That's
too,
true. That's true. So I got rid of those the
resonators.
The resonators.
Did you do the free
right?
flow components?
Not like yours, but I did. It was pretty darn loud with the boreless system, and it was great. I really like the tone.
Yeah.
They leave some stock components. It's a new X pipe in the middle and such, and they have their polyphonic. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So they have a system called the polyphonic
harmonizer.
Yeah, and so what it is, it's 4 smaller pipes in a larger pipe, and they're different lengths. Think of it like a pipe organ. It changed the tune. It was really, really neat, but it was just that loud all the time.
It was loud, yeah. Well, I'm happy that you have them now because the mufflers, if you do decide to do some more freer flowing components like I have on my truck, it only works better. It stays just as quiet as it is now, but it only gets louder. It's awesome. It's so cool. That's why I'm so excited, is because this doesn't matter if you have F-150 or you have, whatever your truck configuration is, you can go and have a great time on, an exit on-ramp or whatever with the valves open, and then you can pick the kids up at 6 a.m. and go to work or whatever on Monday morning, and you have no compromise.
Be a respectable citizen when you want to be, and a hooligan when...
And also, too, people's interaction with the product is all wildly different because some people never open the valve, maybe once or twice a week. Other people leave it open all the time. On my TRX, if I want to do a hard acceleration, I'll open it, and then it's like I could wake the dead. It's amazing. On the other hand, half the time I've got them closed because I'm on a phone call or whatever. It just takes the truck, which is a very utilitarian vehicle, and gives you the experience you want, the sound.
Yep. When you want it.
Controllable.
Yeah, see, I'm driving about 80% of the time with them open.
Yep.
But when I'm going through residential, because I usually come home at 9, 10 o'clock at night, and
Close
I leave equally as early, and I close them. And so I'm not upsetting the neighbors.
Let me see if this resonates with you. No pun intended. This on the Valvetronic website says... do your neighbors despise your cold start in the morning?
Yeah,
do the police give you a hard time because your car is loud? Does your significant other hate riding in your vehicle because the drone is too loud? Maybe you just want to make your car a bit louder with the option to make it sound docile without compromising. Then the Valvetronic Designs Universal Muffler Kit is the perfect solution for you. Loud when you want, quiet when you need to be, all at the touch of the button. Is that you? Is that accurate?
It's absolutely true. And another time so I'm a total audiophile. I'm a geek for the audio. That sound doing 80 it was overpowering. It was bringing the noise floor up too much. So I was having to turn the volume up too much.
That's annoying.
And it was I was fighting it constantly. And now with yours, and I came over here right after I did, and I showed Holman, and he's like, what in the, it was dramatically
It almost
quieter.
sounded like a quieter Ram 5.7 Hemi truck.
It's exactly right.
Yeah, it's quieter than the stock mufflers.
When I'm
so
cruising,
happy.
well, instead of a single muffler, it's got, I have the duals, your duals, and just cruising at 80 miles an hour, that drone is gone. And I will also say...
And you can hear the supercharger better.
Also, too, when they're opened, the mufflers actually sap a lot of the drone frequencies away as well.
Yes, because they're acting like a Helmholtz resonator.
Yep, exactly.
Right.
Yeah,
and
we've engineered that. I'm happy that you said that because that was one of our biggest things is people would come to us with straight piped Hellcats, V6 powered Chargers and other cars, Mustangs. Yeah, I'm melting in my chair.
Yeah, right.
But they would come to us with those, and they would delete the middle resonator and have no mufflers. They wouldn't come to us. They would look to buy online. They would want the sound, but people would find it would get slightly quieter with the valves opened than their straight pipe setup, but all the drone was gone. So we actually found, we did a test. We had a muffler deleted V6 Charger with no resonators, and then we had a car that same setup, but it had the universal mufflers. The sound was like a half decibel quieter with the mufflers in their open position, but in the car it was way quieter because all the drone was gone.
Yeah. So I'm going to play, people are sitting at home thinking what are they talking about? I'm going to play a little piece. Now, this is just at idle. and I'm going to play for you, and you can see the difference. And I talk a little bit on this clip. The volume, the overall decibel output is not that different. But what it is, it's cutting off the crackle, which is the annoying part.
What you're doing is
you're removing the bass.
You're removing sound, or you're removing noise, and what you're left with is the sound you want.
That's true. Yeah.
Are you backing up?
No, that's the gate opening at Banks. I handed my phone to Josh. I'm like, all right, so that's with the valves open. Yep. All too familiar. And that's with them closed.
Sounds like a 5.7.
So you can tell that like I'm watching the VU meter right now, and the volume is almost the same. There you go.
And now we'll close the valves. Closed.
Yeah, isn't that awesome?
Makes me so happy.
That's it's really good. How did this whole thing start? Like you were doing all
Honestly, my mom hated to be in my car because it was too loud. When I was in high school...
Which car?
I bought a BMW 335 with the money that I had saved up from modifying these Wranglers and stuff, and detailing and doing all the work that I had to do as a 16-year-old, which is very good, I think.
You did it. You bought a 335 at 16.
Yeah.
That's a pretty baller.
It was $35,000.
Oh, my Lord.
$35,000. But that was every dollar I'd ever earned.
Did you pay cash or were you
I paid cash.
Holy man.
Paid cash. Yeah.
Good
but
job.
the only thing that I had ever purchased from my money was like 2 airsoft guns, which got disposed of very quick. I didn't buy anything. I was just saving money so I could do this. That car, though, taught me a lot about what I wanted. And then after I sold that, I bought an E46 M3.
Nice.
Imola red over cinnamon, 6-speed car.
Beautiful car.
Oh, love that car. But the reason this all started was because when I had that 335, with the money that I did have left, I bought a downpipe, the free-flowing component.
Of course.
Again. I did like a free-flowing midsection, and then I had in the rear, I did the BMW Performance exhaust, which on those BMWs from factory, those cars had exhaust valve. Like they had one on one side, but it was just kind of an emissions control device. It didn't really work for sound control. The BMW Performance system removes it, so there's no valves. So it's just loud, 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 loud. And my mom, she would wake up to go to work about the same time that I would go to school in the morning, about 6:30 or 6:45, when we would leave the house. And I would start this car and it would rattle everything. Like the whole house would shake.
That's cool when you're at your friend's house and like, oh, Austin's coming over, but not when you're...
Well, it's like when I brought
Exactly,
my
you're pissing off your
392. I picked it up in Michigan. I drove it home and pull into the driveway, actually into the garage. And then the next morning, because I got here at night, and then the next morning was the first time my wife had, seen the car.
Seen it, yeah.
And I started it up, and it rattled every picture on the wall in our hallway.
Yep.
And I drove out here, made a right, made a left, made a right on the street, and then gunned it all the way to the corner.
Yeah, they could hear you forever.
Yeah, our bedroom is upstairs facing that direction. She texts me, "That's obnoxious, and I can still hear you."
You're like, well done, yes.
Yes,
awesome.
mission accomplished. But so when I had this car, it was a snap change when I did the downpipe, when it was a kind of a straight pipe system. Everything rattled. So my mom, after that day, got very frustrated. I had this on for about a week. And then she was in the car with me and she said, "Austin, why don't you make it so it's loud when you're in the car, like on the highway, and then can you make it quiet in the morning?"
It's mom mode.
I was like, maybe.
Wait a minute. Is she the mother of invention?
Absolutely. Yeah, I give all the credit to her. So that's the thing is, for me, it was like there's a solution here that I need to figure out. So what I did is I put the stock rear mufflers back on, which had the valve in it. And so for the viewers listening, the 2 rear mufflers on a 335, they're like 2 cans. And on the driver's side, there is a valve on one of them. So when it is closed, the exhaust only exits through the passenger side exhaust tip. So what I did is...
And it's got a lot more baffling on that side, correct?
Correct, exactly. Even though the mufflers look...
Yeah, they're not
symmetrical.
They're
They look
asymmetrical.
asymmetrical.
Yeah.
They may look similar, but they're very different internally. So the one on the quiet side was much more dense. So what I did is I took the loud side, which had the valve in it, and I opened the muffler up and I gutted it. And I welded in straight tubes and took all the packing out. After that, I made a valve controller, like to just operate that valve on a key fob instead of the car's ECU doing it on throttle position, or on like pedal position. And from there, I had a controllable valved exhaust. I made a YouTube video with my friend named Tedward. His name is Tom. He's a big YouTube channel now.
Yeah,
but back
I know Tedward.
Yeah, Tedward drives.
Yeah.
So he was the big reason why I got started, because we filmed a video when he had, I think, 2,000 subscribers with this
days.
With this BMW. And that car ended up really spiking the interest in this idea, because that first car that I had bought as a teenager, it was a black car, the automatic car. I bought the E46, and I had to do this project on a white 335 that I had. So I had changed cars around, and then my mom was still furious because I did the same mods to the white one. I was just like, oh, let's make it loud.
Do it again.
So I put it out on YouTube, and it got a bunch of hits, and I had my Instagram in the video, and everyone contacted me saying, hey, I want to buy this. And I was like, well, don't buy it. In the video, I explained how to do it. And they're like, no.
I want to deal with it.
I want to buy it.
Yeah.
And I was like,
I don't know.
All right.
here we go.
Yeah.
So kind of as your entrepreneur thing says, I just had to figure out how to do it. So from there, I found an in-house manufacturer in Pennsylvania, because I was at this time now going to school, to help me build these. And we started there, and then started to expand into other platforms, into other BMWs. And then I realized with the Universal project, everybody needs this. Everybody should have the opportunity to enjoy a flexible exhaust experience at a price it's not even, I don't think it's expensive. I think it's very reasonable at $400.
Yeah.
So you can
Totally.
You can put it on genuinely any vehicle. You can put it on your 5.3 truck, your 6.2 truck, your TRX. It's so variable. And even too, like, I've had people use it on a Maverick. I've had people use it on Rangers. I've had people use it all over.
What's the weirdest thing? Is it the Maverick, or is it
well, in terms of weird stuff, truck-wise?
anything?
Oh, I've seen it on buggies. I've seen it on swapped Porsches, Volkswagen buses, everything you can imagine.
Wow.
We get some wild inquiries. We get like old ML55 Mercedes that they use them on, just anything and everything, because it fits. It's smaller than factory mufflers. It's very dense.
Very compact,
Isn't there's a new craze going around right now with like S-Class Mercedes and AMG cars and stuff that are supercharged, and they're straight piping them because they sound so wicked, and they can get so...
Well, actually, so interestingly enough, with that, they can get so loud and so obnoxious, people use the mufflers for those as well.
Yeah, right?
And from factory... the Mercedes like C63 and stuff, those mufflers were engineered in a partnership with Eisenman. So Eisenman helped develop like the W204, C63 mufflers. So they're actually quite good. The problem is the cold start. They're so loud, you need a packed muffler casing to quiet the dust, like the decibels
And that's
down.
because they run super lean, right, for emissions, correct?
That I'm the TRX, you mean?
No,
Or-
like a lot of just most modern cars, they run super lean at startup.
I don't think so. I think it's
because they have to
opposite.
light off the cats.
No,
right?
they
need
run
heat to light-
they run rich
I don't.
to light up the caps, and that's why like Chrysler dumps fuel on that startup on purpose to give you that big barky growl.
Oh, interesting.
All right, we'll have to figure this out.
Yeah, no,
that-
I don't think it's lean. It's
But
rich.
that's the thing
Make the heat.
is the cold start, kind of as our conversation before, people's interaction with the product. Some people just close the valves for cold start, and then they leave the neighborhood and it's opened 99% of the time
That's
after
lightning.
that.
Yeah.
Well, I had a stock TRX for a year, and I backed it into the driveway every day. And at one point, we redid the paint and the roof on the house, got new garage doors. And this old man comes walking by, and he's like, got new garage doors, did you? I'm like, yeah. He goes, what, just starting up in the morning, put dents in your old garage doors?
It's like, to us, it's not that loud,
Yeah,
right? But everything is so loud to the people outside. It's even too, when someone drives past you and it's really obnoxious, even though we're in the car, sometimes we're like, oh, everyone thinks I'm cool.
Yeah. No, not usually.
No, not usually. Yeah. So that's why I think it's such a valuable thing, and I'm really trying to get it to the truck enthusiasts, because I want everybody to be able to enjoy what is truly such a fun experience, because it removes all your compromises for having something be loud.
Yeah, and you can do it. It's designed so You can weld it yourself. You could, if you're a good welder,
You do clamps,
you
yeah.
could put V-band clamps on it.
You could,
You
yeah.
could do all sorts of stuff. Or you could take it to a muffler shop. They could swedge it open, so you could just slip it over your existing pipe. There's a
Exactly.
million different things you could do. It's very versatile.
And the thing too is the control harness and everything is very, very simple. You just plug it in and go.
So it's made to plug into your cigarette lighter, which will work if you put it in the trunk of your car or in the spare tire, in a sedan or something. In my case,
You just hardwire it.
I just
yeah.
lopped off that cigarette lighter, and you've got a positive, and a
negative.
ground, and I wired it in my switch, as I said.
Easy.
And I can control it. And then you've got a vacuum line that you supply a little brass fitting, so I split off in two to go to each of the vacuum actuators. That was it.
That's it.
If I can do it, anyone can do it.
Yeah, and it's a very, very simple install. It's not crazy expensive to install if you use a muffler shop or even someone who's good with their fab work. It's just, I don't know, it makes me very happy because when I started this business, I thought that I started it to make money. But actually, now it's changed because I just hope that everybody can have this experience because it changes how people can enjoy our favorite hobby. And then your neighbors don't hate you. You're able to make your vehicle even louder. We have, like, my TRX is so loud, but I drive around with the valves closed and it sounds like it's a bone stock truck. You accelerate away from the light. It's totally normal. I've been stopped in the truck before. And
So you've got mid-length or full-length header or long tube headers on there?
Yeah.
Okay. got
Yeah.
it. Okay.
So a completely race setup. When the valves are open, there's nothing in between the block and the exhaust tips. It's wicked. But then when you close the valves, it's like it goes back to, it's actually still quieter on a rev than a stock TRX. which
You're
is
making me want to
just-
do that now.
But that's the thing is,
I would do long tube headers if I weren't in California.
but you, well, yeah, register the truck somewhere else.
Yeah.
You mean buy a house somewhere else?
Right.
Yeah,
And then live
well,
there.
No, you have
and then
another,
live
you
there.
have property. Yeah, of course,
Yeah.
of course. That's the big thing too. Is the product just works better when you have freer flowing components. It makes me so happy.
Let's talk about back pressure, because when they are closed, the valves are closed, and you have a really unique design in that you've got the valve and it's before the muffler.
Mm-hmm.
And what it does is when it's open, the exhaust, for the most part, travels straight through in a straight pipe, right out to the tip of the truck. But when it's closed, the exhaust is forced to go down and then up through into the packing, and the only way it can escape is to go through a lot of dense packing. Now, what does that do for the back pressure?
It definitely increases it, but what we've designed the mufflers to do, even on like a supercharged truck like that, the muffler internals are designed to flow well, kind of in an S pattern through the muffler, like quickly get through it, but to not add too much back pressure to where you couldn't run the truck. Like I've run my truck with the full race setup, and I've done hard accelerations with the valves closed.
Oh, really?
No problem.
Okay.
Yeah, no problems. But that's a race setup, with completely free flow, and my truck is not tuned. I would just say, if you're going to really beat on the truck, make sure the valves are open.
Yeah, open them.
The cars from factory that have valves, they're doing it on throttle position anyway. So in like a Hellcat or
392 is the same way. Throttle position. So
I didn't know yours did that.
If it's closed and anything above 3,000 RPM with a load, they open automatically.
it'll click it open automatically. So you don't really have to worry about that too much because the engine management systems are so clever. They can sense that and they'll just adjust
Plus,
timing.
I'm guessing the restriction's probably the cats anyway.
It is.
The header cats.
It is. Yeah. So we see a lot of that. But, it's always important to know the product is, as best as we could engineer it, designed to work well, open and close in any scenario.
Got it.
So, you got to make a pass on the highway, make the pass. Like, the truck's not going to explode.
So other truck applications, do you generally push people towards the universal application? And then you've got in the sizes that you offer 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5.
Yeah. So in terms of use cases, what I recommend, we've done a ton of Rams, we've done a ton of Tundras, every truck you can imagine has these mufflers. What we find the best application is, it's important to remember that, like, let's say on a Ram, like a 5.7 Rebel or something, that truck gets really loud if you do duals.
Yeah.
Because you have way more flow. If you run the single and you just put the single muffler in the midsection and you remove everything else and just straight pipe the rest of the truck, it sounds good. You get a nice aggressive sound, but you could drive all day with the valves open. And because of the way the Hummel chamber is designed for the valves open muffler casing, you won't have any drone, which I think is a cool setup if someone doesn't want it that loud.
Yeah.
But if you really want it to be rowdy, you should do duals. You should run the truck duals all the way back, probably with an X pipe or an H pipe, and then run 2 mufflers.
So
That's what I recommend.
So real quick, let's walk through because you've got single inlet, single outlet, single inlet, dual outlet, T-style, and then you can choose 2.5, 3.0, 3.5 inch.
Yeah.
And then you can buy, obviously, 1 or 2 mufflers systems.
For most truck applications, 99% of them, single inlet, single outlet. The only things that really use single inlet dual outlet would be like a BMW M5, which has the quad tips. So you can just remove the factory mufflers and put those back there and just slide exhaust tips on. Or if you had something like the V10 powered Ram SRT10, like that has the dual exhaust tips out to the side. You could remove that muffler, then do single to dual on that, which I've seen done before, which sounded insane, which was awesome. But you could do it that way. But most truck applications are going to be single inlet, single outlet. Just put it in line, remove all your resonators, remove all your mufflers. And you may think, oh, no, it's going to be so loud and so droney. Yes, if you don't put the muffler in and you just straight pipe the truck, it's going to suck. But if you put the valve muffler in,
good to go.
$400 well spent right there.
And I was surprised the size. I think from the canister itself is about 15, 16 at the most long.
Yep.
And then you've got the ends of the pipes coming out. So overall, it was like 18 and a half, which is smaller than I would expect it. You would expect that a muffler that's of that small size, it wouldn't be able to damp
it.
Yeah, it wouldn't be able to damp that much.
Because there's material in it.
Exactly. But it's compact. When I brought it to the guys at Banks, they were like, how much are those things going to do as far as damping? And I'm like, well, we're running 2. And they were,
I was impressed when I crawled under it to see how it was packaged because you probably think of it on its side, but they're
mounted vertically.
They're mounted vertically,
yeah,
yep.
That's the best way to do it.
And so they're kind of packaged like books on a shelf, one next to the other vertically, and completely out of the way because you have so much room to the bed floor. And these are compact, and I was staring at it, they're going, damn, that's a really clean install.
That's what counts too. Is the proper application of the product makes it very, very. It just improves the experience.
Now I noticed. So, are yours 3.0? Is that what you have?
Yes.
Yeah, 3
Yeah.
inch.
Okay. So those are basically the all-in 8.5 by 8.5 by 18.5. So and 7 inches tall. So if you are thinking about like the cube, what kind of space it takes up. But I noticed in your instructions, you actually say how to orient the valve. So for best effectiveness from valves open to close, recommend you install the mufflers with the valve portion facing the rear, which seems common sense, but do people put them in backwards and then what happens?
So good point. Or good question, I should say. That was a problem in the past. Now you can mount them. I mean, do people mount them all sorts of wild ways?
Yeah.
It used to be a challenge. We changed the muffler configuration to be able to, it's reverse flowed now. It wasn't before.
Okay.
But now it's reverse flowed, so it's totally fine. We just see a little bit of we see an improvement in the pressure buildup if you have the valve facing the rear, and the valves just work a little bit better in terms because there's less pressure on them. But it's 6 one hand, half dozen the other. It doesn't really make any difference now.
It's one of those things where once you install it and you're hypersensitive, you might notice it for 5 minutes, and after driving it for 2 or 3 days, it's nothing.
Yeah, well, we've had people too. It's very interesting that when people order something from a website, and I can speak for, I think, any brand, people will agonize over the small details. But then once they put the product on, they're like, wow, this is so far and above beyond my expectations that everybody's very happy.
Well, when he said that he had the mufflers installed before everything was wired up, and once he got it wired up, I was like, well, how's it work? Because we were talking about how to wire it.
Yeah.
Yes, I drove for like a week with them closed, so I couldn't tell what they were really doing. I knew that they were. It was quiet.
Good.
'Cause it was wonderful, but like I didn't have any control because I hadn't wired it yet.
He hadn't wired it yet. So I was asking him about it, and he's like, it sounds like a Hemi. And I'm like, well, it is a Hemi. No. It sounds like a Hemi 5.7, like a 1500.
Yep.
And the first time I heard it when he pulled up, it was almost quieter than that. I was just looking at like, man,
the truck
it still sounds good, but there's like no volume.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah, it just cuts the volume down so much. And we've used that technology on like our Mustang S550 and S650 full exhaust packages. I don't know, for the people who are not familiar with us, we do exhaust for everything C8, Z06. We get into the S650 and S550 Mustangs. We do every BMW you can imagine. We do Porsches, Ferraris, Lamborghinis, McLarens, all sorts of wild stuff. But all of this engineering from the high end, from the stuff we learn on Porsches and, making the best exhaust configurations for McLarens. It all trickles down to make the best universal product, because at the end of the day, Valvetronic's mission is to be able to provide this technology to the people who need it at an affordable price. There's so many options out there for mufflers, and you can buy a system that has more mufflers, less mufflers. You're going to compromise on drone. Why not just have one option that does literally everything?
Well, you've succeeded because the name Valvetronic, and I'm sure you hoped that this would happen,
Yes.
but you couldn't have predicted that it would. But it is now the Kleenex of that brand, meaning it's just, even if I go and buy facial tissues at the grocery store,
They're called Kleenex.
everyone calls it Kleenex,
Yeah.
and everyone calls it a Valvetronic, even if it's an imitation. And so that's a great place. I mean, you've branded it really well, and it speaks to the quality.
It does. Thank you. It does become tricky though, because everybody tries to copy us. There are so many copycats out there. So make sure that if you are interested, viewers, in buying this, you buy from the proper source. So you get
Valvetronic.com.
Yeah, Valvetronic.com. We find too that people try to sell knockoff versions, cheaper versions. If you find a muffler that's really cheap,
by the way,
yeah,
cheaper version than $400 with the muffler and a controller.
what are you getting for
I
that?
mean,
Yeah.
Dude, I don't even-
what are you going to do? Oh, I got this for $349 off of Temu or something, right? It's
Honestly,
like,
so actually,
why would you?
that's an interesting thing you just said there. I did a comparison of like some of like the AliExpress drop shipped mufflers.
Yeah.
There's been so much engineering that's gone into our mufflers.
Yeah.
I pulled out one that I ordered off AliExpress, and it was still, with the shipping, it was $160 for the product and another $170 for the
So
shipping.
why not just get the Made in the USA originals?
Exactly. But
People?
the big thing for us is so much of what we do is product experience. It has to be good. You got to feel special pulling the stuff out of the box. And we've worked so hard with our suppliers and everybody to make the product very special. But then when I had this other product that I bought on AliExpress, it showed up in a box that was absolutely destroyed. The hardware was damaged, no support, no nothing. The thing about it is,
Were the instructions in English?
no, no. When anybody tries to cheap out, and I talk about this for McLaren exhaust, Porsche exhaust, and the universal mufflers, whether it's for your truck or whatever, remember what are the true costs of your cost savings. That's how I like what I like
That's
to say.
funny that you say that, because Holman and I were talking about this. I don't know if it was on or off air. It all bleeds together. But like at where I work at Banks, we sell a part for the Ram trucks, 2007 to current, and it's called a Monster Ram. It's $1,000, and it's the best that you can buy.
Yep.
And it solves some problems. It adds performance. And guys will say like, you know what? I'm not going to spend. That's too much money. I'm going to make my own. And what do? They spend 3 weeks making one, fabricating whatever.
How much is your time worth?
They don't calculate that. And do they work for free?
We offer free shipping on all our products.
Well, then
I'm
that
like-
just totally undoes it.
Yeah,
While you're
yeah.
talking about shipping, I'm like, well, yeah, if their shipping's less than $50, it's still a pretty good deal. Oh, it's free.
Dude, it's free. People want to say, hey, like I want to come and pick up the exhaust. Like, will I get a better deal? I'm like, no. I'm going to ship you the exhaust anyway.
Yeah.
So, or I'll ship it to you for free, so it doesn't matter. But dude, it's a very interesting landscape because everybody is deal shopping, and quite frankly, this product I feel is so fairly priced for the product you get.
Totally.
That we have some people who say, hey, we always have challenges. We always are looking to improve the product and always get better. And we have some people that, hey, it didn't work for me, it didn't fit. All right, cool, no problem. We'll take them back. Send them back to us. I'll send you your money back. Not a big deal. Our objective is to offer that best experience, and also to be the company that someone is proud to. If we send stickers, we send a free shirt. Everyone gets a free shirt. I want people to be proud to run Valvetronic and to promote it, but also to look back on their experience and go, my next car, I'm getting those mufflers again.
Yeah.
All right. So let me bring up a couple points here. One is that if you own a truck, you probably own a motorcycle.
Oh, here we go.
You guys do stuff for bikes?
They have a Valvetronic motorcycle muffler.
We are in development of a Valvetronic muffler for it's starting with sport
Sick.
bikes.
Okay.
And we've done the initial developments and the scans and stuff for it, and we did a prototype and we put it on
Was it like a GSX-R or something?
yes, that's exactly what it was.
Okay.
It was one of those. And forgive me, my bike knowledge, viewer or people who are listening, forgive me, but we put it on straight piped bike, no cat, nothing. Well, free flow configuration
Yes.
on the motorcycle.
Right.
Yes.
Race
For
it's
test
a race
purposes
it's a
only.
race bike
Competition only.
Test purposes only
Test
in the
purposes
dyno
only.
cell.
Yeah, of course.
Absolutely.
This bike was ear-shattering, so exotic. It actually made the bike sound way better when the valve was open. Closed, sound like the bike was bone stock. It was spectacular. And the big thing is the bike community needs that.
Oh, yeah, they do.
Because
they're getting popped.
That and the motorcycle is a very easy target for noise problems.
Yeah.
When you look at your community and say, okay, what are the problems in terms of noise? It's very easy to point a finger at the
My
motorcycle.
brother almost sold his house in Costa Mesa, California, because he's on Beach Boulevard. For those of you in the Orange County area,
Harbor Boulevard?
I'm sorry, Harbor Boulevard. What did I say? Beach.
Yep.
Harbor Boulevard. Thank you. And for whatever reason, it is the main thoroughfare for Harleys. And every morning, 6 a.m., there's rallies. Just, it's nuts. And sport bikes like crazy up Harbor. And he was like, I'm going to sell this house. I can't stand it. I have to wear earplugs on Saturday nights into Sunday mornings.
That's not good.
Yeah.
So if we can inspire the same enthusiasm for flexibility that we have in the truck market for the universal mufflers and in the automotive market for like our BMW and Porsche exhausts, everybody wins. Because honestly, and it's kind of an unfortunate thing, the motor car as a whole and bikes are, as we can take bikes and cars collectively and trucks, they're a very easy target for legislation. It's very easy to point fingers at things with gas-powered engines or a diesel and just be like, that's wasteful, you should buy a Tesla or you should ride an electric moped. But there's such passion and desire and enthusiasm around these vehicles that we need to make it so that everybody can coexist. Because quite frankly, when I drive through a neighborhood when I was like 16, 17, I used to feel like super cool in my BMW with the pops and cracks. Like I used to feel that way. Now I look at that and I'm like,
Welcome to being old.
I kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm looking on here, and I'm guessing not everybody who listens to the Truck Show podcast has a Ford Mustang GT or Dark Horse, or has a Nissan GTR, or has a FA Tributo. But holy crap, if you guys want to see pure
Artwork.
go look at the F8 exhaust of $59.99, which is actually a really good deal for an
Ferrari
exotic
exhaust?
Ferrari
Yeah.
exhaust. And it's like pie cut titanium.
What about
It's
the C8
Well, hold on a sec.
Z06?
Hold on a sec. Five-star reviews on the Ferrari F8 exhaust. And you're looking at it, if you don't know anything about the McLaren, the Audi, any of the, I mean, you guys have dozens of applications.
Yeah, tons.
Every single one looks like a piece of industrial art. Every single exhaust that you make looks unbelievable.
Sex appeal counts.
Damn.
It's very important. And we find that we can actually talk about like the Corvette C8 and the E-Ray and the Z06. We put out our Z06 exhaust package for the C8 and it went like super, super viral.
$5,000.
Yeah.
$5,000.
Because of the price of the sound, or what?
Because
for
of
what
all
reason?
of it.
Okay.
By
Because
the
of-
way, the Valvetronic housing is also titanium. I'm guessing from heating up, it's freaking gold. And then the tips are all blued. And it's but it's
You're
not
talking about
even.
the vacuum actuator
Look
or
at
the
it.
controller?
Look at that. The vacuum actuator, the housing.
Oh, yeah. So like
that-
the muffler casing and everything.
Holy
is
crap,
all-
that's rad.
is all
Yeah,
turn-
that's
turn-
cool.
turns
And by the
color.
way, the pie cut thing is that's labor intensive.
Hugely. The configuration for us is if you're going to buy a Valvetronic product from Valvetronic Designs, it must be the best sound. If you look at like the C806 exhaust with that X pipe, which is just wild, you look at our S650 and S550, the biggest problem with Mustangs when you do headers, they're so raspy. With Corsa, Borla, any of
Yeah.
these other exhausts. Our exhaust has a center H pipe that's resonated that it makes a regular Mustang sound like a GT350 with headers.
No kidding.
It's amped. It's so cool. And the big thing for us was I did not want to put a product out on the market that was not going to be the best experience. Because if I'm not,
It's going to sully your name.
people should shop somewhere else. I was not going to put something out that's not going to be the best. We just finished development of our Lotus Emira exhaust. That car, it's exciting. People are enthusiastic. Camry engine. It sounds like a damn GT3. I swear to God. Maybe bring up the video after the show here. It is absolutely out of control. The E-Ray, we had a new E-Ray in. The C8 doesn't rev very high. Like it revs to, I think, 6,000, but barely, or 7. Forgive me if I'm wrong here, but you don't get that exotic sound. Our C8 exhaust, again, similar configuration, large cross-section X pipe, titanium pie cuts, and these large muffler casings using the OEM valve hardware. The setup just rips. It's so nasty.
I had a technical question real quick here. You use vacuum actuated mechanisms to open and close the valves as opposed to electronic, which I've seen. And I've heard, I don't know if it's true, I want you to tell me, is it because the electric ones get superheated and the internals just cook and eventually die? Or why are you vacuum?
Or is it because a lot of the factory ones are vacuum and it's just easier to have an actuator?
So it's both. We use both.
Oh.
So like on that Corvette, that system there, it uses the factory 5-pin Corvette C8 valves. You just take your valves off of your factory exhaust and put them on this one.
No kidding.
It just works. You click the Z mode and it opens. It's sick. But on the universal mufflers, we use vacuum because it's a lot more robust of a technology and it's a lot easier to understand. Electronics would have increased the price of the muffler a little bit too, which I would rather have a more robust, more affordable option for people instead of putting electronics underneath the bottom of the vehicle. Now, for the Porsches and the BMWs and stuff, they use really high quality electronic actuators, which you can take from the factory exhaust and put them on our exhaust, which just works. But I found it's a lot easier to understand and diagnose a problem on a vacuum actuator than it is on like an electronic valve. Because is it the wire? Is it the valves burnt out? Is it the springs bad? Is it I'm not getting enough power to it? Like, it's very simple. You plug the box in. If there's a green light, it's working. Press a button. If it's not clicking, you probably didn't click the right button because there's 2 buttons on the remote. We get a lot of emails. People say, oh, it's not working. I'm like, did you press both buttons? If that is working, okay, then maybe your vacuum line isn't connected. Is the pump running continuously? Yes. I've got a hole in the vacuum line. Easy fix. It's very simple to just diagnose and correct this stuff. And quite honestly, people have little questions and stuff through our customer service if they have problems. We've sold, I think, 5,000 or 6,000 of those mufflers.
Dang.
I've seen like a couple, maybe 5 or 10 come back for like weird issues where the valve had issues. But, we're here to offer like the best support possible. We had some guy who had used his mufflers on 4 different builds. He just cut them out.
He just cut them off.
He just cut them out. Huh. He had a bunch of...
Because I was going to ask you about the longevity of the muffler, because I had some of your competitors on a Mini Cooper, and they were mounted so close to the engine. I was boiling them, literally, and I was stunned. I went through, they were the resonators, not the mufflers, but the resonators as part of this exhaust system.
The resonators went bad?
The resonators
what
kept
kind of shit
going
quality
bad.
Is that?
It's a brand that everyone knows.
Sorry,
I'm not going to say.
I don't want to knock anybody else's stuff.
They would rattle. It would cook the insides out, and there was an inner tube that was supported by a circumference of the packing material, and it would get loose, and
Flowmaster 2 chambers, wasn't it?
Cherry bombs from
cherry bombs.
No, they weren't.
But that's a really important thing for us. Is we design the muffler casings to be of exceptional quality, so you can genuinely use them forever. Here's a testament. One of the first prototypes we ever built is still on my Mazda Miata that I've had for 7 years. Like when I was doing the 335 project with the BMW and like my early days in college, I bought a red Miata, and I was like, oh, cool. Like I'm going to make a valved exhaust, this Miata. We prototyped, we made a muffler with the control harness and the same remote I've had for 7 years.
And I'm sure the product is way better today than it was 7 years ago, right?
It's leagues and bounds better. Just the internals of the vacuum harness and like how the valves are machined and stuff, it's all gotten so much better. But that muffler still performs flawlessly, and it's at the snap. It works so well. The exhaust configuration on that for those Miata enthusiasts it's free flow, no cat. That's legal because it's old. It has a Toyota Prius resonator reversed in the midsection.
Oh, no kidding.
Sick. Very cool. And then it has the valve muffler in the rear. It has one more kind of open resonator casing with no packing in it. Then it has I took a Nissan GTR tip, which is like 6 inches on the back. Again, it looks
rad.
It's very funny. But it sounds like a little 4-cylinder Mini Cooper, like an Austin Mini, the ones they race at Goodwood. It's like bzz, it's so fun, and it sounds smooth and exotic, that to me makes me so happy. But the fact that the product can work so well on that application and on your TRX,
Do you see a future at Valvetronic for truck-specific exhaust systems?
possibly. The thing is we've had such success making one product that just fits and works. I don't want to have to pass on the engineering costs of the consumer that much. I would rather just educate everybody that, hey, this product exists, use it, and apply it to every other thing. You like the way that the Borla S-Type or whatever exhaust sounds?
Yep.
Perfect. You can just add the universal muffler in line. Don't even take out any of the Borla mufflers. So then you have that setup where you can have that control. And I mean, we see wild truck applications to where we've seen side dumps, we've seen off-road buggies, we've seen everything you can imagine. 2J swapped Nissan Patrols, just wild stuff with this muffler. The applications are broad. So for us, I would rather keep the cost low instead of having to engineer and really spend a bunch of money to build the best truck exhaust. Because if it's going to come from Valvetronic, it's going to be the best.
Is that because trucks have so much more real estate? You can package the mufflers a lot easier, whereas all the exotics and stuff, you really have to have an engineered.
Very, very tight. Yeah. I mean,
By the way, on the TRX, Solomon, if you look closely, there's not as much room as you'd think. Like it's tight
because the drive shaft.
Because we got the drive shaft's got to have a full flex in there, and so
yeah, the amount of time it's going to take to really build the best configuration. And also, too, I'm saying this right now, just as the response of this question, we might turn around tomorrow and be like, oh, that's actually a good idea. Let's build some full truck exhausts. I would just say though that I'd rather someone be able to have this technology for less rather than spending. It would probably be our systems would at least be $1,800 for a full exhaust with valves.
Yeah, this just makes so much more sense what you're doing now.
Exactly.
Unless somebody has $1,800 in their
That's true.
pocket and they're willing to play.
Well, the cool thing is if you, my full exhaust, let's discount the headers because I wanted a different sound. Like the free flow pipes that I have on that and the mufflers, if you were to buy that, I think from Cornerstone Performance, those free flow sections were $400. The mufflers with two of them are $600. So you can have a full wild exhaust that's controllable for like maybe $1,300, $1,400 with install. That's
kidding.
a full exhaust.
Yeah.
How could anybody lose? Yeah, I mean, there's only one way to go forward, and it's to give people the opportunity to have the control and no compromise. That's how we do it.
Well, if you're looking for a controllable exhaust note like Lightning for your truck,
I do not have a controllable note. It's all loud all the time.
then you want to hang out with us, or you want to go over to Valvetronic.com, and then you guys have a pretty robust social presence.
Huge social presence.
Yeah, so your Valvetronic Designs on Facebook, on Instagram. You guys are at Valvetronic. You guys also have your Valvetronic Designs YouTube page.
Got it. Dude, it's been a treat having you in.
Absolutely. It's
This
been
is
a pleasure
very
being
cool.
here as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even know you were in town until
I
Lightning
texted
said
you
that
like
you're
2 days ago. I'm like,
Yeah,
I'm
like,
here.
yeah.
He's like, is Austin, he's on the phone. He's coming in. He's like, he doesn't live in California. I go, he's in California. He's coming over.
I'm coming over.
Coming over is awesome.
And we didn't even get a chance to talk about your Porsche GT3 RS that's outside. That's
Yes.
brand new. Holy mackerel. That thing is wicked.
Thank you.
My
Yeah,
Lord.
my wife goes, I think your guest is here.
Yeah. Well, so wait a minute. I
She
didn't know
was
what you were
correct.
driving. And what did I ask you when you walked up? I said, who's on the motorcycle outside? I'm like, who's on? Because
I wasn't paying attention to you when you said
that. Yeah, like you never paid attention. I thought it was a bike.
Yeah,
Though
yeah,
it's
yeah.
That certain note is like.
Well, the cool thing is with that setup, we wanted to build a configuration that would use stock headers. That car does not have like race headers or anything. It just has a rear section. And we wanted to make it as exotic as possible.
It
because
sounded exotic.
Everybody out there has to use like to use race headers. Saying other companies, not Valvetronic, use like catless race products to make the cars really loud and really exotic. I wanted to build a system where you could genuinely bring the car to your Porsche dealer and they would say, this car, there's no way this is factory. And you look under it and you go, those are factory headers.
Yeah.
Wow.
Nice.
This is just a catback and it sounds spectacular.
Yeah, congrats.
Thank you, sir.
Very cool.
Lightning wants a ride.
Yes, I kind of do. I'm not going to lie. Thank you, Austin.
Cool. Thank you, guys.
All right, Fruit Loop, it's time for some news.
What's new in trucks?
We need to know.
What's new in trucks?
We need to know.
What's new in trucks?
We need to know.
Lifted, lowered, and everything in between. What's happening in the world of trucks?
It was good. It was good-ish. It was good adjacent.
It was all right, I guess. Hey, Lightning, have you heard?
No.
The 2025 Cadillac Escalade starts at, what do you think?
25 Cadillac Escalade starts at $91,000.
89,590, which
I
makes
was
it
close.
5,700 more than before. And nope, you lose by Price is Right rules. Hey, Lightning, have you heard?
What are you, deaf and stupid? I said no.
No, negative.
Apparently, there's been some sort of issue with 5.3-liter engine blocks having contamination on Chevy Silverado, Tahoes, and Suburbans.
What type of contamination?
Have you heard about that?
No.
So I guess it was due to potentially manufacturing. So there's a customer satisfaction program, N242-455-301, which affects certain 24 Silverados, 1,500, 24 Tahoes, 24 Suburbans. It's a condition where the engine block of the 5.3-liter V8 may be contaminated. So check this out. To rectify the problem, certified General Motors technicians, so your dealer, have been instructed to inspect the affected vehicles, and guess what the fix is?
I don't know what kind. It's like sand in the block from like a casting or something. I don't know what the fix could be. So because I don't know the problem.
Replace the engine.
Oh no!
Whoa! That's not right.
No, that is not right.
So they don't say what the contamination is, but they do say it should take a GM tech just under 20 hours to perform. It doesn't say how many vehicles are affected, but man, first Toyota, now GM. What's going on out there, guys?
This place blows.
Well, this engine anyway. Hey, Lightning, did you hear?
No.
Those cocky SOBs over at GMC think they're going to have the best-selling electric truck brand.
I mean, based on what?
They have two trucks.
Yeah.
The Sierra EV and the Hummer EV. So those are their two trucks that get sold at the GMC dealers. And of course, they're going against the Rivians of the world and the Cybertrucks of the world with Tesla. I mean, is that? I guess
maybe it's possible. I will say that the Denali
even
version,
Ford only has one.
The Denali looks good, and
It's better. The interior actually looks more luxurious versus the Silverado, which looks like a work truck, and the interior is kind of old looking to me.
Yeah.
Way better than the Sierra. Like, way better. Like, not even close.
No, it's a totally different truck.
It's like the difference between let's say a Tesla Highland, which is their updated 3, and a...
I didn't even know Tesla had an updated 3. It's called a Highland?
That was their code name for the update for it. Yeah, that just came out right now.
Okay.
The difference between that and a Toyota Yaris interior. That's sort of like how drastically better the GMC interiors. So, they're up against Ford also, which has the Lightning, and you would think Ford is in no way going to just lay down and roll over and let GMC, this small GM brand, be the leader in pickup trucks, right, for EVs.
What's Ford going to do? How are they going to answer fire?
So what's interesting is there's been a lot of news lately about all the manufacturers backing out of EVs, especially look at the political landscape, kind of pumping the brakes right now, and kind of, I think, waiting for the election to see like where to spend their billions.
Yeah, and rental cars are pulling out. I mean, rental car companies are pulling out of them. Yeah,
tanked the secondary used car market by dumping 80,000 Tesla Model 3s or something like that. But they say an affordable Ford EV midsize pickup is still coming in 2027, even though the Project T3 fully electric truck is delayed indefinitely for now. So it's interesting. And I heard that Ford EV midsize truck has been designed in Long Beach at Ford's Design Center there.
Oh, no kidding.
Which is kind of cool. But I'm thinking I absolutely love my Aria. Love it. But the one vehicle I need that I don't have, I really need a
Maverick.
pickup. Well,
you wanted the Maverick.
Well, I like the Maverick, but I don't think it's enough truck for me.
Well, but do you need more hauling capacity?
Well, yeah, if I'm going up to the ranch or, whatever, and I got to move stuff around.
I forgot that you've got some property. You're going to have to, you need a full size.
But I don't think I can afford a full size unless I got like the perfect full size would be a 1992 Ford F-350 Power Stroke 7.3 regular cab tray bed.
Because it's a
4x4.
Small full size. And it's
old and it's
it's affordable.
Easy to work on.
Right.
But if I was going to replace and get just an EV vehicle to slot in after my Aria lease is up, maybe a little EV pickup that could do both things might be good. I don't know.
Like, what's that option? You don't have that option today.
Well, Ford's coming out by that time with their new midsize.
But we don't know what it is.
I have no idea. I'm
like
just surmising.
I mean, it's like unibody. We don't know.
No. I think it's going to be
body on frame.
Yeah, well, I mean, skateboard probably.
Okay.
So we'll see. Who knows? We just know that it's a midsize pickup truck, and it's intriguing to me.
And the moral of the story is, GM, how are you going to do it? I mean, how are you going to beat everybody else in
especially at their
electric
prices?
pickup trucks?
Like they're selling all premium stuff, super expensive. Lightning's getting cheaper. Rivian's got a crazy lease deal right now.
When you say crazy, you're talking about sub $1,000 a month?
Oh, way, yeah. I think 5 something.
Wait, what?
Yeah, for a R1T, I think a dual or a 3 motor.
Excuse me?
Yeah, so there's some seriously good
You
lease
can
deals.
get a Rivian for less than $750 is what you're saying.
I'm saying you can go right now, and they've got a killer lease deal on the R1T. Here you go.
I'm stunned.
Available configurations starting at $651 a month.
Okay. So you're probably going to touch $750 with some options. But still, that's...
Or it depends on your down payment and all that kind of stuff.
yeah.
So, but that's very sub 1,000.
That's a lot of truck.
A lot of truck. That's still one of my favorites. Oh, also talked to some friends over at Volkswagen's little electric startup, Scout.
Oh, yeah?
Good stuff coming.
Oh, really?
Real good stuff
Oh,
coming.
by the way, going back to Rivian, I talked to Mike Vu, who is one of their, he's somewhere in the mix in their design team for interior design.
Okay.
I'm like, dude, I got to have you on the show. And he goes, I'd love to. I can't.
Yeah.
It's like, I have to get permission.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, man.
Yeah, and I used to know their global comms person, but he moved on. So that's
Mike
not
Vu
helpful.
used to work at Alpine and was incredibly talented. And we have to figure out a way to get him on the show.
Well, we can get him on the show. We can bleep out where he works.
Well, then what's the point?
Because he still has interesting information and storytelling.
But he's going to...
I work for my name is Vike Moo, and I work for
And we pitch his voice all the way down?
Rivian. Hey, Lightning, have you heard?
No.
I suppose this would be a really bad time to segue into the massive Rivian fire that they had at their plant in Normal, Illinois.
Yeah, not so normal anymore, is it?
Did you see the photo of 50 Rivians going up with the fireball?
Oh, no. Oh, my Lord. Wait a minute. My sound effect didn't even do that justice.
No,
that is
a giant inferno.
huge
So now
explosion.
it burned down a bunch of them, and so
What
they have,
caused the fire? Do we know?
it's unclear what started it, but I want to say it was 50. This article says
Was it a Tesla semi that set all the Rivians on fire?
No, that's only when they fly off of the highway.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, it was on a Saturday night, and there's an investigation, and somebody took a drone photo today, and it showed a bunch of Connex containers basically barricading around all the burned out Rivians.
So you couldn't get close to take a photo?
I'm
is that what
assuming they're just trying to block it off.
Ooh, that's
or
bad PR.
keep it from if something happens. Listen, battery fires are muy bad.
Yeah,
muy bad. So anyway, not a lot of info on that, but we'll update the story. And glad nobody was injured in that deal. Hey, Lightning, have you heard?
No.
So interesting that Walter P. Chrysler, his great grandson, is he wants to save Dodge and Chrysler from Stellantis.
Hold on a second. Walter P. Chrysler is what you say when you're angry and confused. You're you stand up and you go, Walter P. Chrysler! Are you kidding me? It's like a made up name, isn't it?
It's a real name and a legend in automotive.
Okay.
Anyway, his great grandson Frank B. Rhodes Jr. Just leave it alone, Lightning. Can I get through a story?
Go ahead. I didn't interrupt you.
You were the words were forming. Anyway, he made this short video on YouTube discussing the need to protect Chrysler and Dodge's future, and it showed nostalgia and talked about Chrysler's first car in 26, involvement with U.S. military during World War II, all that kind of stuff. You can find it on YouTube if you search for Chrysler 21st Century FB Rhodes. And that's Rhodes. So anyway, he's has a proposal, but it's kind of light. I think he's just bummed that something that has his family name is being squandered by the Frenchies. Hey, Lightning, have you heard?
Negative.
Speaking of the French, I came across an article that showed the headlights off of Bugatti Chiron. Mm-hmm. And so they only made 500 of them. So there's
Of the Bugattis or the headlights?
Of the Bugatti. So it'd be 1,000 headlights. And so obviously they're not a cheap car and they're not cheap units.
Are you going to ask me to guess how much the headlights are?
Would like you to.
Didn't we do
guess.
a segment not long ago on what were the most expensive truck lights?
Yes, we did.
I think were they F-250 lights? Were
something like that.
And they were well over $1,000 a pair.
Yep. So can you?
Okay. Yes, for Bugatti Chiron headlights, I'm going to guess. Is this a pair or individual?
I'm assuming this is a pair, but I could be wrong.
Okay, so I'm going to say that they are $12,000 for the pair.
Okay, a Porsche 911 Carrera GTS is $164,900, and a pair of headlights off of Bugatti, $164,000 with today's exchange rate.
Wait, hold on a second.
Just for the headlights.
Wait, hold on a second. The Porsche headlights were $100,000.
No. The car, the Carrera GTS.
Oh, okay. I was
is
saying,
$160,000.
the Porsche thing. Okay, yes, right. And you're saying that the Bugatti lights are the same price as the Porsche?
It was an ad on eBay Germany, and they are the Vallejo headlights for the Chiron with a price tag of 147,000 euros, which comes out to about $164,000.
That ain't true! That's not true! So get your facts straight.
It's crazy.
So anyway, what's interesting, so this was on motor1.com, and I know this isn't truck, but it still fascinates me because we love all things automotive, right?
Yeah, of course.
And so apparently taillights are $10,000.
Oh, come on.
A key is $13,547.
I mean, what are they making?
$8,449 for a set of tires, $18,317 for front brake rotors, $6,764 for front brake pads. We should have Willwood on. Do you think they have anything for the Bugatti?
No, they don't.
$18,317 for rear brake rotors, $4,024 for rear brake pads. The transmission is $185,000. The lights are almost as much as the transmission. And
So-
the annual service, by the way, $11,500. That's a deal.
Yeah, that's crazy. There's a guy named Manny. What is Manny's last name? If you look him up, if you like Bugatti Manny on YouTube, he comes up. So he lives in Newport Beach, California, not far
Not
from
in
where
a van
Holman lives.
down by the river.
No, not in a van. And he, right off the 405 freeway here, that place that looks like a palace. It's all white with the golden gates around it down by South Coast Plaza.
Yeah, that used to be a religious compound for the TV network.
So he bought that,
Okay.
and that's his garage now.
Oh, cool.
So
Nice
it's a
spot.
massive
It's funny because it's right in the
compound.
middle of a neighborhood.
Correct.
There's no access from like a main street. You drive through people's houses to get through.
Yeah, but he's right on the 405 freeway, which
Well, you can see it, but you can't get off there.
That's correct. Yeah, but anyway, so he bought that, and he has the Hermé version of the Bugatti, like a one of one, and he has one or two Chirons.
So when are we going?
And I don't know him personally,
Oh,
but
then why are we talking about this?
Because it's crazy. Because he lives like here where we are, and he's got to. If someone knocks out a headlight, he's gonna have to spend $100,000. Bonkers.
Yeah, well, that's the
Bonkers.
Listen,
how does he have that kind of money?
Listen.
Yeah,
He does.
Yeah.
Hey, Lightning, have you heard?
I said no.
No, I haven't.
So, as you know, we talked about the Ford Maverick in a lot of detail recently. And the 2025 Ford Maverick starts at $27,890. I believe that's including destination. And Hyundai just came out with their pricing for the 2025 Hyundai Santa Cruz, which gets a $1,910 price hike. So the base trim starts at $29,895. So like a couple grand more than the Maverick. Like, why wouldn't you just
You do the Maverick.
I'd get the Maverick. Not even close. Like I know Hyundai's coming out with better cars. I just don't see them as a premium brand. I know there's a lot of people saying good things.
They're trying really hard now.
I know. I just don't.
Like I said,
I grew up in the
Genesis.
80s. I saw the Excel. I know what.
Have you seen the Genesis SUV?
Great. They're great cars. The GV80, great.
Looks fine.
And
It's
honestly, Genesis, from as far as a luxury brand, like great. They're making great stuff. They hired, I think, a bunch of BMW designers, and they changed the
but
design
the problem
language.
is it's still
and-
Genesis until
I
it's
think-
not Genesis
I don't know.
anymore.
I'd rather have a Genesis than a Hyundai.
Oh yeah, for sure. But like, you don't. The Hyundai is and the Genesis is.
I actually think the Genesis are pretty decent.
It's not that the quality's not good.
No,
it's
I
that
think- I
when
think they
you're
look
getting
good.
into that level,
Yeah.
it's like you got to
But
do a
that's how-
BMW or Mercedes,
no,
right?
that's how Lexus and Infiniti got in. They gave you BMW and Mercedes quality at a near luxury price point.
But it was Toyota, which was really respected.
And Nissan. But I'm just saying,
Yeah.
like, that's how they started those luxury brands. You got to start somewhere. And honestly, Genesis has come up a lot. I'm just not a huge Korean car fan. Like, come at me, Hyundai. Prove me wrong. Come.
I mean, there's some Kias. I mean, I wanted to tell you, right? It was a great car.
Yeah, I mean,
although the sound system was awful.
Yeah,
the worst.
They could be better. They need a guy like me to go in there and be like, hey, if you want to be
Do they not have
authentic-
ears in Korea? Like, I don't understand. What were they listening to? Like,
That's how bad your sound system was?
It was awful. There was no highs, no lows. It wasn't even as bad as Bose.
Okay.
I mean, it wasn't even as good as Bose.
All right. Hey, Lightning, have you heard?
No. No.
So going back to supercars, because why not? Horatio Pagani says he's sticking with V12s because, quote unquote, no one wants a hybrid. So
yes,
we should.
Even after Porsche and Ferrari are doing hybrids, Pagani's like, no. So is he keeping Mercedes in business with the V12?
Maybe he will be. I mean, why?
Because aren't all those Pagani's Mercedes
I think
engines?
So. I think they're based on that. Yeah.
Oh,
so
good for him.
Yeah,
keeping the dream alive.
Give him a trophy. Hey, Lightning, have you heard?
I mean, no.
So we talked about the Ram 1500 Classic going adios, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's funny because we get the note from Stellantis saying, hey, and from Ram, it's finally dead. We're killing it. Out with the V8, and there's no fanfare. Know how much money that thing printed for Ram over the years?
It's because it was boring.
It wasn't boring. It was a great truck. No, it's still a great truck.
I didn't say it wasn't a great truck.
It's
you
not
can be
boring.
a great truck and boring.
No, it's not boring. It's not boring at all.
Yeah, it's boring.
Listen, the Brazilians did a full Ram 1500 Classic RT farewell. It's kind of rad. Red, blacked out grills, some graphics on it, 20-inch wheels. Hemi.
It's fine. I don't hate it. It's just
no, but at least they did something. No, you have problems. You're just up on your pedestal because you have a TRX and you
no.
Listen,
Hold on,
the average person can afford that.
I'm not saying it's not a good truck. I'm saying at a certain point, rest it, move on. It's a car company.
They just did. That's the story.
Okay, but it's like you don't have to have fanfare.
Why?
It wasn't like it's not a Halo product for them.
It absolutely made all the money. Your TRX exists because
Halo.
of that.
That's not Halo. Halo is something that's like...
No, if you're looking at the Ram brand, the Ram 1500 was its Halo product. That's what printed money for them. That's why you have a TRX.
No. You misunderstand the
term
term
I'm not misunderstanding.
Halo
no,
is
you're
when...
saying it's a bespoke vehicle that's blah, blah, and it's limited and blah, blah, blah. That's what you're saying. Is it not?
A Halo anything is you sell few of them and it gets all the press. And that press bleeds into the stuff that's a little more milk toast.
Or you have a very simple lineup and you have a high volume vehicle that allows you to make cool stuff.
That's fine. And that's what that was.
Hey, Lighting, have you heard?
No.
Where did you get that from?
Don't know. Cracks me up.
Why the hell don't we have a Ford Everest Tremor here?
I don't know what that is.
It's basically based on a... think about if the Ford Explorer never went unibody and was still based on the Ranger. It's available overseas. They just made a Tremor version. It's
damn
badass.
Wait, what the heck? That is
body on frame, 4-wheel drive, 33s.
That is, hold on a second. That's every SUV kind of all squished together. That
Who cares?
Is...
Looks great.
No, it's cool. It's very cool looking. Huh.
And you get a 3-liter diesel with 443 pound-feet of torque.
You get a diesel?
Apparently some people caught it testing in the United States, even though it's not coming here. But they introduced the Everest Tremor in Australia, and it's got Bilsteins on it. It's got General Grabber AT3 tires, an inch of ground clearance. It's basically rad. So just Google Ford Everest Tremor and check it out because it's freaking awesome, and it's one of those stupid things we can't have here.
Can I ask a dumb question? How many people do you think base their vehicle purchase decision on tires? Because they'll highlight it in on the list of things like, hey, it's got so much towing capacity and it's got room for 7 and blah, 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 and it's got these tires. And I think the tires are cool, but the tires are disposable. They are going to wear out, so why highlight them?
Because it means you don't have to replace them off the factory floor, and it also means that here's the size that you can have on there for in perpetuity. We gave you an inch taller tire. That's a big deal.
Okay, but then they're like, you like General Grabbers. I mean, they're great tires, but like...
Great, so you're not getting a cheap pile of crap tire that's going to leave you stranded in the middle of nowhere.
Do you think so you think it's a good selling point?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
You want just like a... A Zeus?
Well, no,
a Chinese Zeus or something?
Honestly, I'm asking from an honest place because I look at it and go, it doesn't matter. The tires don't matter to me because I'm going to replace them.
Well, that's you, though.
But I know that's why I asked the question, because I can't step out of me. You know what I'm saying? I wish I could.
Well, you're not the only one. Hey, Lightning, have you heard?
That's what I said when I couldn't step out of me.
Oh, jeez. So Ford just updated the Bronco Sport for 2025. They basically announced the Bronco Sport Sasquatch package.
Okay, I'm interested.
Yeah, it's freaking rad.
I'm a little interested.
Freaking rad. So
are you going to show me?
The Bronco Sport came out I'm going to explain it first, then I'm going to show it to you. Came out in 2021, and it's the small Bronco, not the big Bronco. I know there's a lot of confusion there. They just did a mid-cycle refresh. So for 2025, there's a few changes that kind of go along with Maverick. You get the 13.2-inch infotainment system. You get the Sync 4 interface. But now you get the Sasquatch package. So the Sasquatch package includes Bilstein rear shocks with percent. The Sasquatch package includes Bilstein rear shocks, which is like, how cheap are you, Ford? Like just the rear? Just put them all the way around. Anyway, with position-sensitive damping and piggyback reservoirs. If I were Bilstein, I would develop the front shocks to go with that and go, hey, Sasquatch package?
Yeah.
We have the front ones.
I'll bet you they already
$200,
have.
$250, done.
Should we call Steve on Segrin
We
and see if
should.
they're already working on it?
We should and be like,
Okay.
you guys need to do this. Revised front and rear springs, increased ride height, twin clutch rear drive unit, so same as the Maverick Tremor, a front brush guard, steel skid plate, 235, 65, 17 Goodyear Territory all-terrain tires, Lightning.
I don't care.
So it's like a 20, I think that's a 29-inch tire. New rally goat drive mode so that you can drift it, which is super rad. According to Ford, they said that they did research and Bronco Sport customers love the outdoors and go off-roading 3.5 times as often as the owner of any competitive brand.
No kidding.
Which I believe. I see those things freaking everywhere, and they're really capable. So anyway, it's kind of cool. So this is the Bronco Sport Sasquatch here.
You know, the first one that I had seen that looked really good, that's a good-looking car.
It's got a modular steel center section on the bumper, and you can put a hoop on it.
I don't like the bull, what do you call it, the bull bar?
Bull bar?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that, but it looks good. So remember, John P., who works for Toyo?
I do know John P.
And he's got that, what do you call that, mint color. It's a really cool minty...
minty fresh?
Minty fresh, that's what I wanted to say. It's mint and then white wheels.
Oh, yeah, I've seen it.
And it's a really good look.
So a couple other things I want to point out is, so it's got the silver center section in the front and the rear, but check out the rear toe points. So you notice the awesome U-shaped shackles that are recessed in the rear bumper.
I see that. They're very prominent.
Pretty cool. And then also it's got extra skid plating. The bumper's been reshaped for a better approach angle, so it's got some additional ground clearance.
I like the wheels.
Yeah, it has unique wheels.
What is up with, this is weird.
Wheels are starting to get cool.
I mean, are they were always so boring and lame, or actually borderline ugly, and all of a sudden, the OEs have said, okay, wheel designers, go for it.
So here's one of my favorite features. So where the little vent is on the back of the front fender, now it's a little arm that comes up so you can put a tie-down strap through it. They flip up, lock into place, and you can hold the front of your canoe down.
So you know what this is? If you remember those Volkswagens that had semaphore turn signals way back in the 60s?
Except this is a semaphore tie-down instead of a turn signal?
That's
super
sharp.
smart.
That is really smart. I wonder how strong it is. It's got to be tied into the frame
100 pounds, they said.
Oh, wow.
So it's very strong.
Okay.
And it takes from Raptor with the upfitter switches, so it's got 4 aux switches, which is pretty awesome. So this is the one to start with. Pricing hasn't been announced yet, but it's got some pretty decent off-road shops, especially with the twin-clutch rear differential. So this thing is badass, dude. If you are in the market for a little cable and you're looking at like Subarus and stuff, like a Crosstrek,
or the Outback or whatever they call it.
Dump it.
Yeah.
Go get this. This thing is super rad. So
I am seeing so many of those Subarus
everywhere.
I don't know. How did they become so trendy?
I don't know, but every kid in college wants one and has one.
Oh,
now.
yeah.
So
My oldest
boys
wanted
and
one.
girls, by the way.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's a unisex car.
Go get a Bronco Sport Sasquatch package. It actually makes the Bronco Sport super rad, I think.
Okay. If you happen to have a news story you want us to cover, send it to truckshowpodcast@gmail.com, Holman at truckshowpodcast.com, or your boy Lightning at truckshowpodcast.com.
The Truck Show, the Truck Show, the Truck Show, oh, oh.
And And don't forget to follow your favorite podcast and podcasters on Instagram, and that would be at Truck Show Podcast, at LBC Lightning, and at Sean P. Holman. And also, apparently, you guys have been leaving comments on Spotify. So at the episode level, you can leave comments, and we've got a 4.9 out from 172 people on Spotify.
Wait, what? I didn't even know that you could leave comments.
So thanks, guys. I'll read a couple of them here. We had episode 64, season 2 with the Lilienthals, and John Mitchell said, always awesome. We had one from episode 70 from Josh. Great info on the best anti-theft available. We're the ones who bypassed the Unravel code and made the videos. I sent them an email with the $10,000 challenge. They've ignored them all. So
Okay.
that's this is the Igla Man. We got one from Monster Mustang Sean about the 24 Ranger Raptor. Awesome podcast. Can you please make one in lime green and one like a 6x6 and lowrider and Hot Wheels version? And make sure you make tons of them in Hot Wheels and send them to every store out there in Rathdrum and Star, Boise, Idaho with badass graphics. So there's some fun stuff in here.
Listen, leave comments, dude. If you guys, if you want to drop a nugget of comedy, leave a comment and we'll read it. That sounds fun. And listen, you guys know that Spotify's taken over the world and we love it. So yes, Apple has been dominant forever. If you guys listen on Android or Apple, whatever, Spotify that's my jam.
Yeah,
I love
so
the music quality.
they're our number
there.
2 now.
It's good, and it should be, because they deserve it. I love the audio quality. If you're not an audio nerd, whatever. But for streaming, it's pretty damn good. No, it's not FLAC. It's not lossless, but it's really pretty good. People will build playlists, and I follow other people's playlists, and I get lost in the music, and I'm a music nerd, and I love it, I love it, love it. So Spotify, leave us a comment and a 5-star rating, please.
And don't forget to head over to truckshowpodcast.com where you can check out the featured products page for awesome discounts. And any of you who bought EGR products, you can get a rebate. All that information is on truckshowpodcast.com, as well as our events calendar. So a bunch of stuff coming up in September. You got the Bronco Super Celebration West, Lifted Truck Nationals, Fall New Jersey Jeep Invasion, so much more right there at truckshowpodcast.com under the event calendar. And then from there, you can go right in and register and check out all the info from these events.
Hope you enjoy all the hard work we put into it, so check it out.
All right, thank you, Nissan, for being the presenting sponsor of the Truck Show podcast. So head on over to nissanusa.com or down to your local dealer where you can check out one of the best midsize trucks on the market in the new Nissan Frontier.
And if you've got a diesel pickup truck and you want to get some more longevity out of it, maybe some more power, head over to bankspower.com, type in your year, make, and model, and find the parts that fit your rig.
Also, AMSOIL has you covered with motor oil, lubricants, protectants, grease, additives, and more. If you're looking for quality full synthetics, you can find out how AMSOIL synthetic lubricants can save you money and time by helping your vehicle run better and last longer than with conventional oils at AMSOIL.com. When it comes to lubrication, AMSOIL is the leader in synthetics.
And when you're shopping for tonneau covers, fender flares, window visors, hood guards, body side moldings, cab spoilers, sport bars, or underseat storage, EGRUSA.com is where you head. Big thanks to Austin Huffman for coming in and
quieting down your truck.
And quieting down my truck and waking up all of your neighbors.
No. This is what's hilarious. So you bring the TRX over. You're absolutely like overjoyed that you have quiet mode now. You roll into it. Sounds like a plugged up Hemi, like just nothing special. And then after the show last week, you go out and because you have 17 alarm systems, you completely blast my neighborhood with 110 decibels of sirens and noises because your alarm's hooked up to your PA.
Yeah.
And turned it off once, turned on again, turned it off twice, turned on again. Could not figure out how to leave. And we're sitting on my street with your truck blaring, unable to start it.
I know. Here's what happened. I realized afterwards because I was kind of a deer in the headlights because it's the first time it happened to me. So with the CompuStar alarm, I have their alarm key fob, like you've always had with an alarm key fob. And then I have my RAM key fob too. I forget for some reason, I just space and I forget that I have an alarm.
And an order of operations
and an order of operations
disarm that alarm?
Exactly. So what I did is because I had the factory key fob in my hand, I just reach up. And here's what made it worse, Holman. This is the part you don't know. The prior day I was driving the Banks Ram 3500. So I was getting in and out of that truck all the time, all day long, with the factory key fob opening the door. It just unlocks, because of proximity. So I do the same thing with my truck. I just walk up and I grab the door. Of course, as soon as I open it, I hadn't disarmed the CompuStar. So it goes berserk. And then I'm trying to disarm it, but I left the door open. I would disarm it, but the alarm would rearm because the door's still open, thinking someone's still trying to break in. Had I just merely closed the door, it would have shut up, and I could have disarmed it.
Instead, were frazzled.
It went off,
and you didn't know
3 times, and right now I can program through my Phoenix PA system whether I wanted to do like the police siren or the police horn, and the police horn is the most obnoxious because it just goes.
It's horrible.
It's
I literally
horrific.
walked back into my backyard in the pod shed and just waited for it to end. And I
It
turned
was
off all the
so
lights in my
loud.
house so he wouldn't look like he was associated with me.
I was a little embarrassed, and I texted you afterwards and said I was sorry because I'm sure I woke up everyone on the
Oh,
block.
yeah. There was a lot of people that were wondering if you belonged to me.
Yes, I do, sadly.
The Truck Show Podcast is a production of Truck Famous LLC. This podcast was created by Sean Homan and Jay Tillis with production elements by DJ Omar Khan. If you like what you've heard, please open your Apple Podcast or Spotify app and give us a 5-star rating. And if you're a fan, there's no better way to show your support than by patronizing our sponsors. Some vehicles may have been harmed during the making of this podcast.